we haven't met before, my name is Nick, and today we're going to take a look at 3 ways to connect the blues scale with sweep picking. So I get asked this quite a bit as far as how to incorporate sweep picking into normal soloing. I think this comes about because players get stuck playing only exercises for sweep picking, meaning we're just going to kind of go up and down the arpeggio instead of actually trying to incorporate it into the general solo that you might be playing or improvising. And so in order to get from sort of the stage of the exercise to incorporating that into playing, we actually have to work on doing it. That's kind of the missing link with a lot of instructional material or things you might find, is that you might learn how to play something, but then what do you do with it? So that's a larger topic, but for this video I just want to focus on general approach to connecting the two things, blues scales and sweep picking. And they might not seem at first like they go together, but they actually really do. So at the beginning of this video, you heard me improvising a few licks over a G minor chord. So we're going to be in the key of G minor here, which is a really cool key, by the way. So many great riffs from Rainbow and Deep Purple and bands like that in the key of G. It's just a killer key. Plus you have the open strings on the 3rd string. Great stuff. But I digress. So lick number 1 I want to show you, and this is kind of improvised here, so there's not a specific exact lick for you to play, but I will provide some tab for the general idea, so you can get that in the description below. But the basic idea I want to start with is connecting this blues scale pattern at the 3rd fret. I'm sure most of you know that. Combining that with this arpeggio at the 5-string G minor arpeggio. Okay, so I'm starting out with that as my goal. Now in reality, when I'm playing, I don't think about that. But when you're first trying to figure out how to connect these things, it's worth thinking about, okay, I'm going here with the blues scale, I want to end up here. How can I make that happen? So here's one way you can do it. I'm going to start here, and notice I'm including that flat 5 because I love that bluesy sound. I don't want to lose that. So then I'm going to move to the next pentatonic position, add that flat 5 again on the top. So now I'm in a different pattern, but I'm still in the key of G minor, but I'm just playing basically the top 3 strings in the 2nd minor pentatonic box. So I get there, I get from here to there with a slide, which is very common, right? My goal is to create a nice flowing line, so I'm not going to stop really. I might have a little pause, but I'm not going to stop. Now you'll notice I'm right next to the arpeggio now, or I can go right into my sweep picking from there. Okay, so I've figured out how I'm going to get there. Now it's just a matter of smoothing it out, trying to connect it so that it flows really nicely. And if you have a jam track or something to play over, that's going to give you more challenges to try to fit it within the context rhythmically of what you're playing. A lot of times these kinds of licks that when I play them, they're kind of loose and flowing, and they'll lock in with the groove at some point, but they might be kind of rubato where you're slowing up slowing down, speeding up at various points. So don't be too tied right now to the rhythmic aspect of this as much as figuring out how to connect it. Then once you do that, you can start thinking about, how you want to apply this to various pieces of music. Alright, so on the top here I'm just going, this is really where, so up to this point, the sweet pick starts here. It's worth exploring, like, where exactly does the sweet pick start? So for me, here. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Lick number 2 I want to show you. Here we're going to start with the sweep picking idea. So before we were blues scale into the arpeggio. Now we're going to start with the arpeggio into the blues scale. So here I'm going to move up the neck and start at the 10th fret on the 5th string. I'm going to play this G minor arpeggio. Hopefully you know that. That is 10, 13, 12, 12, 11, 10, 15. Okay, I'm going to start with that. When I get to the top, I'm going to add these notes. Okay, in some fashion. I don't know exactly yet how I'm going to do it, but these are going to be the notes, and you can see how my hands spread here. 10, 13, 15. That's kind of an extended pentatonic framework there, which I use quite a bit. And then when I come off of that, I'm going to actually land on the flatted 5th. There's it is, 14th fret on the B string, that's the flat 5. And then you have 14, 13, 11 on the B. And there's your root note, G. So I'm going to start it out with the arpeggio and end it bluesy. Okay, so here's what that might sound like. Again, I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing there. About where the blues notes are, the easier it's going to be to transition to different areas of the neck. So if you know your pentatonic and blues scales up and down the neck in various keys, it's going to be a lot easier to navigate, as well as knowing where the arpeggio shapes are. So arpeggio wise, we're just using 2 different ones with these 3 licks here. So we've got this one, and we've got this one. And we've got blues scale stuff all around it. Okay, so that was lick number 2. So there's 2 different ideas. The first, starting with the blues scale, moving into an arpeggio. The second, starting with the arpeggio, ending with the blues idea. And feel free to elaborate on those types of little bluesy ideas. They're very free-flowing, improvisational in nature, and so that's the way they should be, really. Now let's do one last one here. This is one of my favorite kind of little bluesy ideas for a stretch. Kind of using a hammer-on pull-off thing, and we have 10 on the high E, 15 on the high E, and then 14 on the B, and it's just repeating that. So here again, where does the sweep start? Where does this end and where does the sweep start? Going back to that last lick, the sweep ended here. And the blues started there, so here's where the blues scale riffs. In this lick, what I want to do is repeat this a few times, and I'm just going to do it however many times I feel like doing it. And then I want to hit that note and start my sweep here. Okay, maybe end up on the G there. So let me see, how am I going to do that? Let me slow that down. Did you see where the sweep started? Right on that downstroke there. If you wanted to kind of explore this a little bit and change the arpeggio, let's say you didn't want to do that one, you could go up to this one. There's really not any limitations to any of this stuff except for just what's in your imagination. So feel free to expand on this. So if I take this last lick here, you know, you can go either way with it. Now you could start with this, right? We could take that second lick we did and now just add this on the top of the third lick, the way we started lick 3. Let's combine that with just the arpeggio here. And then you've got a whole other lick you can play. So you can really expand on this stuff big time. So that's it for this. I really want to encourage you to take these ideas, learn what I'm doing. I've got the tab in the description for you below, generally, of what the licks are. Take those and see how you can come up with 3 or 4 of your own ideas for each lick. And then work on applying that over some jam tracks. Find a jam track in the key of G minor, for example, or just put a G minor chord down if you have a looper or something like that. Then move it around to other keys. Then when you're improvising, now you've got things that you've worked on because you've practiced combining this stuff. Now you can use this stuff in your soloing without having to think about it. So this takes a lot of repetition, but it's well worth it. If you do have any issues with your sweep picking, check out my free sweep picking guide. I put that in the description below. My free gift to you, it's called Sweep Picking Boot Camp. And it has all the exercises that you'll need to play the basic arpeggios like this. So you might be thinking, that's great, Nick, but I'm still struggling with my sweep picking, so this stuff doesn't really apply to me. Get that guide and work on those exercises, and at the same time work on some of these licks. You'll be surprised how fast that could come together for you. All right, so I'll see you next time. Rock on.